What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Mokuphu Plays. Today we're going into episode 5 of WandaVision with our roundtable. Once again, with me is Hot Takes Gil and Tone the Man. Welcome back, guys.
Thanks
Glad to
for
be
having
here.
us.
All right, guys. There was a ton of things that happened in this latest episode. There's a lot to unpack. We got Vision starting to realize things are going awry. We got weird things happening with the boys aging up. And we got, Agnes is acting a bit weird and fishy. And the big bomb that dropped was the recasting of Pietro from the X-Men series. So, anyways, let's get into our impressions. Tone, start us off with your impression of the episode.
Well, again, I think this is my favorite one yet because this time, like I was hoping they would do, they showed us inside the new universe, TV universe, and they showed us outside, and they showed it concurrently. So what was happening on the inside while things happening on the outside. So I was hoping for that, and that's what they did, and I was happy for that. A lot of big things happen. A lot of I think that what we're seeing, especially when it comes to Wanda, is not what's happening. Well, I still think that she's not in full control of the reality that she's in. She has her powers and she does manipulate things in it, but I still don't think she's the one that created it or has full control of it. So we'll see where this goes. It seems like they're leaning hard into it, making it seem like she is the one who created everything. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. All right, your impressions, Gil.
Great episode, just like Tone said. It keeps getting better every week. It's before you know it, the episode's over. Like I want more. But yeah, the brother coming back. That's probably the biggest part of the whole episode. I think it's really cool how certain people in Wanda's environment know that she's controlling it. Like Agnes knows she's in a TV show. Like, oh, do you want me to redo that again? Vision's starting to figure it out. There's cracks in the environment. And then the two boys, they know that their mom is controlling everything. Like I thought that was really cool. Everybody else is under Wanda's spell and playing their part until Vision did something like with their brain or whatever and kind of snaps them out of it. But it is interesting to see. And then also I think the brother is not under Wanda's control either. Like I think because he has his powers and she can't control him. So I think one of the interesting things he said is when he showed up, he said, "Who's the popsicle?" So when he's looking at Vision, is he like a husk that she's like manipulating like a puppet? But yeah, I thought that was really cool. The mailman also seemed to know that Wanda controlled reality because she said that he said that she would find Sparky for him, like for the boys. But yeah, I thought that was a couple of cool things there. It seems like the director's turning out to be one of the antagonists in the show. I don't know what he's trying to cover up or hide. I thought it was super cool callback to all the X-Men movies when she turned all the guns at the director and it was just like, oh, that was a Magneto move, like just turned it all like at him and then she left. I thought that was really cool. Last but not least, I think that Jimmy Woo and Darcy should have their own spinoff. He should be doing like some type of like Marvel like X-Files thing. Like I want more of him. He's great.
Yeah, he is good.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, that episode blew me away. I was not expecting the things that happened in there. The whole, Pietro thing, I was like, that was big. Everybody kind of knew it was going to happen at some point or somehow there was going to be a crossover. I'm still hopeful that, Professor X is going to make his appearance with James McAvoy, especially considering that they used Pietro, from the X-Men ones. And then, how they show there's cracks showing up in the whole world. Wanda's starting not to care anymore. She's like, I'm just gonna, do my magic in front of Agnes and stuff. And Agnes acting like it's a TV show was really weird and stuff. I'm leaning a little bit towards what you believe in, Tone, about maybe she is not under control of everything or not in control of everything. But I mean, I still think that she's not like imprisoned. Like, I mean, she walked straight out of the whole thing. She's like, you guys better get out of here because this is my house, right? I mean, unless that wasn't really her, but I mean, everything that she did seemed like it was her. So, but anyways, your impressions on the two twins who can just magically age themselves up. I thought that was really weird. And it seems like, Wanda is not able to control them. And I do think that like it's just like an offshoot of her power that she's not able to control, and it was very subconscious. Gil, start us off with that. What are your thoughts on that?
Um, like I thought the most telling part was when Sparky was dead, and then she says that you can't run from your pain, you can't bring things back, and then Vision shows up like right after that. And it's exactly what she's trying to do, and they are well aware that mom's in charge of the whole environment. But I thought was interesting was like Agnes was surprised when she said that you can't bring things back or people back, and then she was like, really? You can, you can actually do it, like that was part that kind of threw me for a loop. I figured that she knew exactly what was going on, but she seemed surprised by that. But yeah, I mean, it seems like the show is aging them up, so they're gonna, at least be teenagers or maybe early 20s by the time the season's actually over, in terms of where they're at right now. I think one of them definitely has Wanda's powers. I think that's why she can't control them. Even Agnes made that comment about, kids, you can't control them, and it's because I think they definitely have like legit powers.
Tone.
Yeah, I mean, Gil covered it pretty well. I think the main thing he said there was about how she said you can't, you know, you have to experience pain. Like you can't just age yourself out of things. You can't just like move on next phase of your life, which is exactly what she's doing with this, with this reality, or at least how she's using it. Maybe she didn't create it; she was put there, and that's just like what she created with her mind, like subconsciously. So, like I said, I still think that there's more to it than just her like creating this whole thing, and she's imprisoning these people here, because at the end she didn't seem to be, she seemed to be telling the truth. At least, was upset that she wasn't believed when Vision was calling her out about, who's doing what, and then she's saying, "Door knock, I didn't do that. It's not me." So I really feel like there is someone else there, and maybe it's something to do with Agnes, and maybe it's something to do with the kids that we don't know about because she can't control them. But I was thinking about how Vision does have power also. Like he can, touch those people's minds and then snap them out of it. Like whatever hex they're under, that's what the place is called now, the hex,
Yeah.
is lifted. So who knows? Maybe she's also under that same kind of hex. Wanda, that is, and she has certain things she can do because she has an agency because of her powers. Maybe she just isn't fully hexed, but who knows? I still think there's something there.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Vision. He still has powers in there, which is pretty interesting. What are your thoughts on his powers within the being able to take away the hex and like just realizing that things are out of place?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's smart enough to realize, he's a machine. He's super intelligent, so he's definitely aware enough to know that things aren't right. But his powers, I'm not sure how that works yet. I'm not sure what it is that's making him able to lift the hex off of other people. I'm not sure what that is. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens on that. You have any ideas on that?
Um, I mean, like when he was reading the email, like, you could tell there was kind of like cracks in the matrix kind of happening. I thought what was a pretty interesting anecdote is when they were talking about Vision and in his living will, he asked like not to be experimented on and like, taken apart and done all that and turned into whatever for research purposes or whatever. I think that's going to be an underlining story of how this started, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny that they mentioned that his living will was to not become a weapon used by somebody else. And then when they showed the video of Wanda breaking into the facility, they showed him like cut to pieces, like
Yeah.
in separate parts, and that was kind of weird. Um, but yeah, the whole part where Vision was able to do things to manipulate it. Although when he did take away the I don't know hex from Norm, he didn't specifically say that Wanda was the one doing it. So I mean, there could be some notion to Agnes being partially in control of suppressing all these personalities and stuff like that, and then Wanda's kind of making like the bigger house, as it were, and controlling Vision, or something like that. I don't know, but we're gonna have to see. It's getting really really interesting though.
The thing with Agnes early in the episode when she said, "Oh, do you want me to do that over? Like, you want me to retake that?" Like, she's on a television show, and that seems to me she's fully aware of what's going on. She's understands that this is kind of generating through Wanda's mind, but maybe she's not in control of it. so that she's aware enough to know that she has enough control that this is her world, but it's not. She's not controlling everything, but she can do what she wants to do because it's her world. So
Yeah.
she thinks. That's where I think it's going with that.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about, the whole recasting Pietro was kind of a huge bomb that just got dropped on us, and stuff like that. Uh, Gil, what were your thoughts when you first saw that? Like, what were you expecting?
I'm like, I mean, first of all, it was like mind blown. It's like, they're crossing the streams basically. Like the first thing I thought of is like, is this how they're gonna do it? This is how they're gonna bring mutants into the Marvel verse. Like, is it through this like, different universe that she's created and then pulling X-Men from like the Fox production. But I thought it was cool, man. Like, I think this is how they're gonna introduce mutants into the Marvel universe. I mean, I think there's something to be said about what Monica got the CAT scan and then there's nothing showed up on it. I think that maybe she got mutated and she's going to get powers. Like I think that's kind of where it's going, possibly.
Yeah, I think you're right on with her getting powers. I think she gets powers in the comic books. I'm not sure what the origin of those powers are or what they are exactly, the powers she gets. But I definitely think that that's how she's going to get them. They're already alluding to that with her scans not showing up anything. And then also, her clothes that she wore in got changed into, they reanimated that material into the clothes that she wore in the shows, and that's why her that's bulletproof because she had a Kevlar vest on. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that also is she's like stronger bulletproof because maybe she got reanimated also. So maybe that's insane.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe that's a theory on that. So mutants. So I'm not sure if that's what's going to happen. I mean, I definitely think they're going to use this Wanda slash Doctor Strange like multiverse thing to bring the mutants in. But I'm wondering if they're just teasing us with this Pietro as more of like I said, recasting it, but they're using that character from the other universe, but it's not really going to be that character. So it's not
Yeah.
really the Quicksilver from the X-Men, Fox universe, but they're using it because we know that's who it is. But that's not who he's gonna, it's not really gonna be him. So he's not gonna really talk about that or know anything about that or be aware that he's switched over universes. It's just gonna be a guy that looks like him playing that new brother character.
I now have the impression that what they're going to do is in the end or near the end somehow there's going to be like a huge blast where Wanda basically changes the world and pulls all the mutants into this Marvel verse from the Fox verse, and that's how they're gonna integrate the two. That's my current working theory. As we're gonna delve into theories right now, but that's what my theory is right now. She's gonna do that. We're gonna get the white Vision in there, and that's how Charles Xavier is going to show up. She's going to pull like more and more mutants into the world, and then Charles is going to try and intervene and stuff. And then I don't know, maybe things will backfire by the end. It'll be really interesting to see that because right after this ends, then they're going to have the Falcon Winter Soldier series start up. So I don't know if they'll like continue on because it's supposed to be kind of like continuation onto it, is from what I've heard. But I don't know how they're going to do that.
Well, if we're getting into theories, I think maybe my working theory is kind of what Gil mentioned about her universe expanding and then creating mutants off of that. But more maybe I think, like I said, I still think that she's not in full control. And then when she does try to end it, she says, okay, well, this is done. I'm not going to live this life no more. Maybe when she destroys it, then that was explosion of that reality onto the Marvel universe, which then exposes everyone in the Marvel universe to this radiation or whatever, causes the mutants. That's my working theory.
Are we getting into theories? Because I got a bunch of theories and questions, to be honest with you. Number
All right.
one, so in the comic books, Magneto's their dad, right? And then, but not in the Marvel universe. They were, they had normal parents, and then Baron somebody used the Mind Stone and gave him powers, right? Like, yeah, and through Hydra. So, like, is this whole thing like the circle, just basically Back to the Future 2, where they're going to create an alternate timeline where you Biff married your mom? It's basically Magneto, like that kind of thing. Like that's the only theory that I could see where it would like intertwine if they brought, Pietro back as that, character. But yeah, that's definitely like one of the like my main questions is like where is he going to come in? If Professor X shows up, Magneto's going to show up, but I do think that I'm still sticking with the same theory that she's going to lose more control of what's happening. The universe, or her like WandaVerse, is going to get bigger and it's going to create more problems. I still think there's going to be a major superhero that shows up. Maybe it's Doctor Strange, maybe it's Captain Marvel because Monica's in it. Someone's going to come and have to like really deal with the problem, not just Sword, you know? I also think that director is still a scroll. The director is still a scroll. Okay. But I think the reason why Wanda went and got him from them is because he was doing experiments. Like he started that project and was doing experiments on Vision, you know, and then that was, you know, against his living trust or whatever. And she found out about it. You know, I think we're going to find out more about that as we go. I also think there's going to be like kind of like a meta, you know, Full House callback to like the next episode because she's an Olsen, you know. I think they're going to do some kind of weird meta thing with that.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. Thank you all for joining us once again for this round of the Roundtable with WandaVision, episode 5. You know, if you liked us, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you like it, and we hope to see you next time.